Hey, we are here with another edition of We Called It for the playoffs. Last week, I did not do so hot on my picks. Looking to rebound this week. However, Connor's here. He showed me up. Made some money last week. How you doing, Connor, with that little extra bane in your bank? Buck in your bank?
Bang for my buck? Any of those things? Anyways.
A lot of B words.
Listen, I mentioned last week I hedged my bet on the under for the dumb Giants and Vikings. And, of course, they hit one touchdown that made it the over, which is fine. However, I did hedge and take the Giants +3, which everyone and their mom saw coming from 12 weeks ago. So that is what pushed me over, ironically, to making money last week.
All right, so let's go. You're the reliable one. You tell me what your smash play is this week.
Man, I think the Dallas game this past week was more along the lines of, man, Tampa Bay was, oh yeah, they were a losing team that won and somehow got a home game in the playoffs only because they won their division. So, no, I'm not convinced that Dallas is worth anything. Smash play, I think, is 100% San Francisco -3.5. Brock Purdy's playing out of his mind. Yes, fine, we can talk about it being a system play, but man, I gotta believe there is something there to that kid. I think he's at least gonna get a shot no matter what at a starting gig next year. I understand that Dallas just put up 30, 40 points, whatever, on Tampa Bay's crappy team, but I don't think they do that against the number one ranked defense. D'Amico Ryans is going to be a head coach next year somewhere. He was definitely prepared for the last game. Like I said, smash play, San Francisco -3.5. Yeah, there's not a whole lot to that. I'm not falling for the Dallas Cowboys. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm with you on this one. I think this is like Nate sent me a text the second the lines came out, and at -4 we were like, this is a steal. And now I just think it's even better. But
total overreaction.
The Cowboys started out with 2 3-and-outs on their first 2 drives against the Buccaneers. They're just fortunate that the Buccaneers also started with 2 3-and-outs. Like San Fran's not going to do that. It's going to get into that situation where Dallas has to throw, and it's uncomfortable for Dak, and he makes those picks. I'm with you. The 49ers just, I think they've scored over 30 in all but like 2 of their last 10 games or something ridiculous. They've absolutely been killing it. And like we said, Deebo Samuel, Christian McCaffrey, they use them interchangeably and is completely unguardable for opposing defenses. What? McCaffrey's in the backfield? Now he's a slot. What? Deebo Samuel's in the slot?
I told you, man. Like, we had this conversation about Deebo Samuel the other day. Deebo Samuel being not a true wide receiver and not a true running back. I was sitting down with my dad, and my dad's like, is that a running back? I was like, no, but he is like 6'1" and 225 and runs a 4.4. Seriously, if you watched his touchdown, that dude has home run speed, which is crazy because he's built like a tank. And for him to break away from and run away, we talk about home run speed, like guys that are coming up or guys that you would say like Amon-Ra St. Brown, unbelievable. Agility, great route runner. But if you asked him to win a foot race after 40 yards, he's going to get caught. Deebo pulled away from DBs last week. So he's just very, very unique. Again, they need each other too. I'm glad he did not decide to go away from Kyle Shanahan. They need each other because he's not a true one at either of those positions. So
yeah. And also, like Ken pointed out, we were watching the game together, and he just goes, look, every time Deebo catches the ball and he doesn't get 10, 15, 20 yards, he's angry. Like, he's spiking the ball, he's smacking, he's all pissed because he knows how good he is, and that it's 1 tackle, 2 tackles broken, and he's gone.
And at least I've talked about this. Kyle Shanahan, Sean McVay, not Zach Taylor. I'm sorry, Zach Taylor, but good offensive coordinators. Those two came to mind immediately. What do? They say, I'm going to make my offense around these guys. Meaning, Kyle Shanahan says, hey, Cooper Kupp, I'm not going to put you on the outside, and I'm not going to make you run go routes. I'm going to make you run crossers. I'm going to make you run shallows. I'm going to make you run digs. What does Kyle Shanahan do? He puts Debo out in space, makes him. I think he scored on a crosser. It was like wasn't it? It was a shallow route that he just said, "Hey, get away from me.
I'm just bigger and better."
No, there's no physical. There's no special way to run those routes. There's a little bit of technique, but it's really just better than
going to run across the field so fast that you can't keep up.
He's not Devontae Adams. He shouldn't be. Never will be. Neither is Cup. Don't use him like that. So, again, side note, we can talk about this later. Watch out for wide receivers going in free agency to new teams. Always skeptical. I think this is an anomaly of a year. We can talk about that. We'll talk about that later.
All right, but real quick, the other point I have on this game, because everyone's going to be hyped about Dallas. So, got the stats up right now. Tight ends on Dallas had 8 catches for 129 yards and 2 touchdowns against the Buccaneers. The 49ers have the best linebacking core in the NFL, and they're known because they're great coverage linebackers. They're going to take away the middle of the field from Dak, and it's going to be tough, contested, outside throws. It's it's the absolute worst case scenario for the Cowboys in terms of offensive matchups. And if you remember, the Seahawks only looked good when DK Metcalf made a monster play on the outside. He had
I was just about to say,
50-yard catches. And that's how you beat San Fran, is you just beat them one-on-one outside. I don't think Dallas can do that.
Yeah, it's just going to be different. I was just about to say, the only way they scored was when DK dunked all over him, which is fine. I mean, you're going to have that sometimes because he's a monster. CD is not that type of runner. CD is not a monster type of running back. He's actually, hand up, I did not believe CD would be that good this year. I thought he would be okay at best, mid-20s fantasy. He had a top 10, I think he was a top 6 season, so he impressed me a little bit more. Came on late in the season. Still, San Francisco minus 3.5.
You can say that, but I think it was a volume play. I'm going to be against CD, but do you know why?
It is a volume play. It is a volume play.
I would say it's all because he's a Cowboy. You can't me and Cowboys, unless they're named Tony Pollard, don't go together. Love me some Tony Pollard though. All right, let's go on to. In my opinion, we're just going to go best game to worst games on this weekend. This is going to be Cincinnati versus Buffalo. We had a glimpse of this. Damar Hamlin's doing well, but in that game, Cincinnati was moving they were up 7-3, and they were moving the ball again when the tragic moment happened, and we had to shut the game down. But this is unfair towards the Bengals, the way they have to go to Buffalo for this game. When if they would have won, it would have been a neutral site game, which is completely ridiculous in my opinion. However, we saw Cincinnati do it last year on the road, looking great. Their O-line's a little beat up, but that just means they're the same team they were last year. They still have T. Higgins, they still have Jamar Chase, and Josh Allen still makes mistakes. At 5 points, I think this is a Cincy spread. I don't know if they win. This could be a last-second field goal, but I am in on Cincy. They delete the run game because they are just good up front. Their D-line is disciplined, so they're going to keep Josh Allen somewhat contained the best you can. But that's just what I have. T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, too much for these outside guys. I'm just hoping that Cincy, they just got to hold up just a little up front, and Cincy will make plays. What do you think?
We've literally said this all year. Zach Taylor will play up and play down to whoever he's playing. I mean, this was like a total like epitome of everything that we said last week against the Baltimore Ravens. I get it. Harbaugh is a great coach, and he did some things that probably kept them in it. But good God, I mean, there was a whole lot of Zach Taylor in there that I saw a lot of 2-yard runs with Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon probably ended up with I think he ended up with less than 60 yards rushing. Big surprise. I mean, he had total yards was all right, but his rushing was bad. But yet Zach Taylor still decided to run. This is everything that you would say would be Kansas City, Bills, an Eagles, anybody who decides to put up major points. Cincinnati can boat race with anybody. They just choose not to. So you cannot sit back and wait and go up a score and be like, all right, let's run the ball. It won't happen. It will not happen. Josh Allen is one of the craziest. He is the craziest. He's like Brett Favre, but like 6'5" and like 260 pounds, meaning he will take a ton of risks and then he'll throw himself right back into the game. And there are only a handful of quarterbacks that can and will do that. I think he's one of them. That's also why I don't think this, getting 5 points is crazy to me, because I think it is going to end up being a shootout.
All right, I can't wait. I want to talk to you about the Ravens goal line fumble. If anyone's listening, stick around to the end. I'm going to ask Connor. Sorry about that. About the play call as well as the execution. I can't wait to see how you would feel as a player on that one. But let's go on then. Jacksonville versus Kansas City. So I'm excited about this game, but there's a reason it's an 8.5 point spread. I've loved the Jaguars all year. I think, Connor, you had them as your sleeper playoff team to make a good run. And that was just a fantastic miracle comeback that we saw last week. That's the start of a miracle run, But Trevor Lawrence showed that after he threw he threw 4 interceptions. The first 2, not on his fault, not on him at all. Those were bad routes, drops, tip passes, whatever. The next 2, not only were they bad throws, they were bad time throws. Everything about that decision making, the execution was just terrible, and he made him pay. But somehow, Chargers coach named Staley has his job still, and he shouldn't, because you can't blow a 27-point lead when you have the better quarterback. And anyways, getting off track, Kansas City minus 8.5 at home. I think they come out. I think they just absolutely destroy the Jaguars. You go, and then I'll continue on that point.
So we're on the same line here. I don't think that. I think Kansas City beats them, but I think it's going to be under 53. I think this game is going to go one of 2 ways. Either they're going to blow them out, and Jacksonville won't be able to score, or all of a sudden you're going to see, Jacksonville did have, not last game, but the game before, towards the end of the year, their defense was pretty nice. They started looking really good, especially against, I guess the crappy Titans. Fine, I get that. But as bad as it is, second half, they gave up, no points?
Yep.
So I think if either way, they're either getting blown out and they can't score, or they find ways to keep this thing close, and they will run the ball, I think. I think they're going to game manage the heck out of this, I think, if they do hit it. But either way, I think they both support the under. I just can't see – I cannot see them getting in a shootout with Mahomes, not because of Trevor being so much less talented, but man, I just cannot see them getting in a shootout. I wouldn't want them to. Peterson is going to keep them from being in a shootout because he's smart.
See, and I'm over here just thinking Andy Reid has the healthiest team he's had going into the playoffs in a while, and he had a bye week to prepare for this against a Jaguars team. I love the Jags. I know, I keep saying it, but they're undermanned. They need a couple more years for Trayvon Walker and Josh Allen to develop as pass rushers. Their corners, I think they have Tyson Campbell, who's been really good, but they need a second one. I think they just need a little bit more time. I love where they're going, but it's Kansas City. It's Travis Kelce. It's Patrick Mahomes. It's Jerick McKinnon, apparently, and Kadarius Toney. They got guys that are shifty now, can make moves. Isaiah Pacheco gave them some power run game. I'm just excited to see the tricks that they come out with early, and I think they get out real quick. And then I know the Jaguars have been good throwing back into games, but I don't know. I think the Jaguars. I lost my train of thought there. It's all gone. Oh, Chris Jones. That's what I was going to say. Chris Jones is going to wreck the Jaguars line. He's just going to blow it up, make life uncomfortable for Trevor Lawrence. And they need Calvin Ridley, as bad as it sounds. They traded for him at the deadline. They need a guy who can start to win one-on-one regularly on the outside. Everyone else is nice, but they just need more. And they have it. Reinforcements are on the way next year.
Why? They have Evan Ingram, who I also said was a sleeper tight end for fantasy this year and had a career year.
I said that also, okay? I think week 2, he was my fantasy start of the week.
All of those things sound like the under to me, more than Kansas City -8.5. Fine.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because after you said the under, I'm like, ooh, that's a really good pick, but I can't pick the same as everything is you this week. Got to mix it
All right,
up.
well, speaking of next games, Philadelphia and the Giants, listen, seriously, this should have been the under last week, and I don't care. I'm just unbelievably shocked that everyone is continuing to give Daniel Jones more credit or as much credit as Brian Dable. I am just shocked. We're talking about extending him long term, making him the franchise quarterback, and maybe we eat crow next year. I don't know, but you cannot tell me that this thing has been anemic this whole year. And against the NFC East, we're back in the NFC East, and all of a sudden we have one ginormous game, and now the line is 48. I'm going under here. I under 48 for Philly Giants. I cannot see them. Isaiah Hodgins is now an All-Pro. No, stop it. Who is he? We don't even know who he is. But I Darius Slayton, Isaiah Hodgins versus Darius Slay and them boys from all of the quite honestly their back end. James Bradbury. I'm going to go ahead and take them, and they're going to load the box, and they're going to say, "Hey, Saquon, you're not Saquon," because at the end of the day, last week was a facade. Vikings need to fire their defensive coordinator. Kevin O'Connell needs to be. Man, he also needs to be on the radar. Moron decides that he wants to go for a flea flicker throwback to Kirk Cousins that completely changed the game in like the first quarter.
Whoa. He came out and said he did not like that play call.
After he made the play call.
Dude, it's so funny.
Awesome. I cannot believe he said that because he's like, yeah, that was stupid. You're right. It was stupid. It's your job to not make those play calls, especially seriously, momentum of the game. They clearly came out. Daniel Jones and Saquon walked into the end zone. They had no response for 300 yards from Daniel Jones and 70-plus rushing yards. What are we doing? That should never happen. It's crazy to me. I'm in the under here. 7.5 is large. I don't like the spread, mostly because they can keep it close. Wink maybe can keep it close, but under 48.
All right. So just want to tell you a tale of a quarterback who a coach made him look awesome, and then it didn't go well. And fortunately, this team did not pay their quarterback. This guy had, was coming off a 22 touchdown, 21 interception year. Quarterback rate or under 60% completion. Next year gets his new coach. He throws 63% completion, 26 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. They make the playoffs and they win a playoff game. And that's Baker Mayfield.
Oh, God.
Kevin Stefanski made him look awesome. Then, of course, he went on, and we all know the story because we're, a Browns fan-based kind of show. And we are over here. It went terribly after that. Injury, cockiness, conflict in general, and now Baker Mayfield is on his third team in like 6 months, right? He's
been on like 4 teams in 6 years or 5 years or whatever.
Yeah. It's very hard to separate the coach's influence from the quarterback's influence. But let me tell you, there's when I'm watching this team, there is nothing that I'm saying like Daniel Jones can make nice plays, but all NFL quarterbacks can make nice plays. I am not saying he's my franchise quarterback. I might give him like a $15 to $20 million deal to keep things afloat while I find someone else. Like if I could get Derek Carr, I would replace him. If I could try to get some kind of young rookie quarterback or just something else, I would be looking for his replacement the whole time I had him. So I am not investing my life into Daniel Jones. And I think Baker Mayfield is the perfect, parallel to him. Yeah. Situational.
You could franchise him. I would say you could franchise him and let him and figure it out. Who else could you do that with? I don't know. Saquon's a free agent this year. you got to figure out that situation. Says he wants to be a New York Giant.
You need Saquon. Like, after watching this year, you need him. But you also need to save Brian Dable's career or keep him afloat and give him something to work with. Anyways, kind of rambled there, but all to say, I believe in the Giants, and I do not believe in Daniel Jones. I think their defense came out, and in a must-win game for the Eagles came out and punched them in the face immediately. But the Giants didn't flinch. They stuck to who they were and what they do, and they held them to 22 points. Like, that's not a lot of points. And I think the Giants will have enough up their sleeves to keep this game relatively close. You get 7.5 points. I'm liking the Giants as underdogs. I have been against them like all year because, analytics side of things, you look at their yards per play, you look at all their metrics, and you're like, wow, this team isn't good, but they win. So I think the coaching can keep it close enough. I am very worried about Jalen Hurts still. I don't know how much pop and how much power he'll be able to get into his throws to stretch the field, as well as how risky he'll be willing to run. I mean, if I'm Sirianni...
He's not the injury report. He's not on the injury report.
Yeah, he's okay. I believe you. You see how I use my claw hands? It's from the Lego movie for anyone that doesn't know. Watch the Lego movie. It's fantastic. There's a drinking game that goes along with it, and let me tell you, it gets the job done.
Anyways, family show, Phil. Family show.
Families. You can drink Kool-Aid.
Fair.
Oh, look at that. That might be the fastest we ever went through picks. But that's okay, because I have so much more to talk about. All right. So number one thing, I hinted at it already. Ravens, their goal line play call.
What?
All right.
Hold on, time out. From 3, continue.
I was going to say, their goal line play call from the 2-yard line. Like, I heard Sean Payton break it down when he's like, this is you have to be very, cognizant of what you're doing. And it's, if he did it with Drew Brees, hike, ball over the goal line, back, and then you just stop immediately. And you tell the refs what you're doing. However, it looks like Tyler Huntley, that wasn't the call. They shoved him in the back, and you don't shove someone who's jumping, So, at one...
I don't know how you do this. I don't know how you do this, but I almost think that they called it, realized how far away... Is everything okay?
I'm good. I just knocked the light down. We're all good. I'll be pretty in a second.
No, I think they called it and thought, man, this is further away. This is a little bit further away than we'd like it to be, but let's see how this plays out. And then if you're going to do that, you tell your quarterback, listen, get underneath them boys and go. Do not reach the ball from 2 yards out. Don't do it. If you're going to do that, you reach it from the half-yard line. Or if you're Trevor Lawrence and you actually, by the way, that 2-point try that he did was uncalled. He was not supposed to do that. He came out and said it. He said that was totally on him. He did it, saw an opportunity, reached it, and you saw it, pulled it right back from the 1-yard line after they got the penalty. So that's number one. Number two.
Also, before you go on, Trevor Lawrence is 6'4", and he's huge and lanky.
Yeah, a large human. Yeah. So I think that's the one thing. You don't start reaching from 2.5 yards out or whatever it is. If you're going to do that, then you need to tell him that and just get him behind those guys. I don't necessarily hate the call. What was it? I don't think it was third down. I think it was early in the sets of downs. If you're going to do that, do it 2 or 3 times. They made a push, but he started reaching out, and I don't think, to your point, I don't think he was ready to do it. I don't think he would surprised him. It was weird. And what I would have rather seen is you either, if you're going to do that, you have a 6'1", 300-pound fullback that moves pretty well. Give it to Ricard. I mean, seriously, give it to Ricard. If you're afraid that Anthony, whatever, no, that's the guy
Huntley.
who started. Huntley. If Huntley's hurt, he was hurt all week, had problems. Give fullback dive. It's the same exact thing. Have J.K. Dobbins pushing back. That dummy is going to keep that thing right on his big, ginormous tummy. He's not going to reach it out or jump over the top and do something stupid. What is that? Science 101? Large man falls forward?
Did you see the repercussions of this, though, where it was J.K. Dobbins, just someone asked, like, if you had Lamar, do you win the game? And he obviously goes, yeah. And then, like, the next day, he's like, dude, you guys are twisting this. I did not say, I'm mad at Lamar for sitting out, and we should have won the game because he wasn't there. It's like, you asked if we win with Lamar, and I said yes. He's like, you could have asked me, or he was like, I should have been running the ball. If I run the ball instead of Huntley, we win the game. Like, that's my thought and opinion. So, I want Lamar to get paid.
I'm surprised that they twisted that. I assume they would be like, yeah, you're right. You would have won if Lamar was in there. Again, going back to Zach Taylor would have lost the game.
Oh, great news for you. Ben Johnson is staying in Detroit. He's actively turned down coaching positions because he's so excited about the culture and what they are building in Detroit. Now, I gotta say, I absolutely love that as a Detroit fan in this sense. However, as a person who believes in Ben Johnson, I think he just made a huge mistake. What do you think?
All right. Here's my point. Yes, I like them. I like their offense. I like everything about them. Jared Goff is the key to that. Only because he had a fantastic borderline last games of the season, like all-pro season. Seriously, if he had done that at the beginning of the season, he's in the Pro Bowl. I think he's young enough. What is he, 27? He's entering his prime, so let's start there. I don't think they go get a quarterback. The next quarterback draft is going to be better than this one, potentially. Let's see what happens again. Let's run it back. That's number one. Number two, look at their division. There are 0 teams that are afraid of the Vikings anymore. Definitely not afraid of the Green Bay Packers anymore. And unless Ryan Paul does something absolutely crazy and just goes out and uses all of the cap space to get all pros everywhere for Justin Fields, they're going to be a 500 team at best next year. They'll make strides. Fields will make strides. And they'll be formidable in 2 years. If he goes out, leads them to a division title, potentially to, we're a first-round win in the playoffs, that dude is just going to write his check to wherever he wants and can pick wherever he wants to go. So, I don't hate it. I like it. I could understand why he'd leave. But, man, a lot worse situations to be in. You could be Matt Canada for the Pittsburgh Steelers and get your job back, which is the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life. Confirm he's coming back next year. You could be in that situation at the same exact record, or you could be in the best situation, which is the Lions.
The 2024 Super Bowl winning Lions.
Dude, telling you.
All right, so my take is, if you can get your money, go get it now because you don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. Just real straightforward. You don't know if another head coaching job, you don't know what's going to happen. You said Byron Leftwich earlier. I kind of agree. The only thing I'm starting to realize is I don't think there's a good job available. I would argue the Cardinals is the best, but that is hectic. Like, that is a mess of a front office. I like the Broncos, but we'll cover this at another time unless it gets announced before then. But Sean Payton, I think, goes there. Other than that, I'm not in love with any of these other jobs. I'm honestly thinking maybe the Texans is one of the better ones, and that's just because they're so low that I think they start to get on an upswing, and winning 5 games keeps your job.
Well, you get to choose. You get to choose your quarterback. You get to choose your your entire staff from scratch. Everything.
Yeah, I was like, that's my point. Is they're so low that it's hard not to go up. But maybe it is worth waiting a year or two and just waiting for someone to get impatient. Like, maybe the Bills get impatient with Sean McDermott and they decide they want an innovative offensive mind and they call Ben Johnson. Or Like, I could see that happening if Allen loses his next 2 playoff games. I don't know. I never know what's going on in the NFC, but you might be able to get a good young quarterback there with how bad that conference is in terms of talent. Browns might get aggressive and get rid of Stefanski. So lots of options, and I think solid options.
Yeah, you got to think too. Like Kellen Moore, excuse me. Kellen Moore was a hot name last cycle, kind of fallen off this year. I mean, but at the same, Ken Dorsey was a hot name before too. Bill's offensive coordinator. I mean, some of those. So there's a chance that he falls off. Fine, but guys like Kafka, Mike Kafka is getting an interview, multiple interviews. That's the Giants' offensive coordinator. Terrible up until now. So I gotta believe that this dude's going to be remembered after this season. And again, with those weapons, if they're a mediocre offense next year, he'll get another chance. If they're mediocre at best, remember, Kevin O'Connell has a head coaching job right now. The guy who ran a trick play on a critical time in the first quarter that pretty much made them scramble the rest of the game. They were losing pretty much the rest of that game.
Oh, and then their 4th and 8 play call, a 2-yard out to T.J. Hawkinson.
I have a feeling that was Kirk Cousins. I will give O'Connell. I'll give him a pass for that because I actually watched. So they have those mirrored, like they show the full routes of the field. They show where like XYZ with dots.
Yeah.
Thielen and Osborne were on the left side running basically crosser, or they were replace routes. So it was deep.
Mm-hmm.
The deep. I think KJ Osborne was actually, they were switching and then he was coming across.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, Thielen on the left side. Or, for the love of donuts, Justin Jefferson mossed 4 Bills earlier this year in the same exact situation. And here we are. Hey, let me just check this down. I cannot see Kevin O'Connell.
I think I sent a text when that play happened. I said their 3rd down play and their 4th down plays got switched, where it was like KJ Osborne on a crosshair that's like 5 yards past the line to gain.
I cannot see Kevin O'Connell running a clear out route, a clear out concept for everyone, and then just saying, "Hey, TJ, you're probably going to get pressed at the line. Let me give you a one-on-one route to run. Oh, and by the way, let me make it a quick out." Stupid.
Awful. All right. Let's go on to the last topic then. We touched on it a little. Dan the Man Jones. Okay. What are you doing if you're the Giants? And does it depend on if you win this week?
Franchise him. No, it doesn't depend on. Listen, this is the recency bias. Look at the full body of work. Look at the full body of work for the full season. Let's not even look at the awful, awful, awful seasons at the beginning of, or the last 3 years that everyone was like, man, this dude, that's who you went out and got. Dave Gettleman, you're an idiot. And then, hey, Brian Daboll's the savior. Let's not even look at that. Just look at like the middle of they were so incredibly basic this year because they just said, hey, we're going to give Saquon the ball a lot. You can say, let's get him a number 1 wide receiver. That's the only thing that you could say that would say, oh, well, maybe he's got some. But think about his ceiling. What is his ceiling? Seriously, give me a comp for his ceiling. Alex Smith?
Yeah, honestly, I was going to say, like, Josh Allen without an arm, and that's Alex Smith.
His ceiling is Alex Smith, but you don't have the pieces that Alex Smith had in Kansas City. You have Saquon. That's it. And then you got to hope to hit, and hit hard. We're talking, like, generational wide receiver 1, because you got nothing there right now. So, I mean, what, Sterling Shepard after blew out his knee again? Yeah. Sorry. I got nothing there. You franchise him and wait. If that's what you want to do, fine. But you better believe I'm potentially looking this offseason. I may not go reach, but I might look this offseason.
Do you get Derek Carr if you can?
Yes, absolutely. No question.
All right, so where are you on Derek Carr then, just to be clear? Do you think he's a franchise QB?
No. Not now. Not now. He's late in his career, though. He's 30, what, 1? Mm-hmm. Am I giving him a 5-year deal, 6-year deal? No. I'm giving him a Matt Stafford type deal. 3 years, 4 years, probably mostly guaranteed. I'm getting his window because if there's no risk in that deal. He comes in, he plays 1 year terribly. Good. We only got him for 2 years. We can come in and use him as a bridge quarterback. He plays great. Awesome. He plays for the next 2 or 3 years. We potentially have a 4th-year option, and then we keep him going. That's it. If you think you're giving another 5-year, 6-year deal, you're out of your mind. Look at what happened to Russell Wilson. They are locked into Russell Wilson because they gave him like a 5-year or 6-year deal at 32, 33. No chance. Nobody in their mid to late 30s should be getting 6 or 7-year deals or whatever it is.
All right, hear me out. Sean Payton's going to save Russell Wilson. And I picked the Broncos to win the Super Bowl this year. And you know what? I'm going to pick them to be a wild card team next year.
They should be. There is no reason why they shouldn't be. Sean Payton goes there. I'm going to try again. And I got a bunch of Broncos this year on most of my fantasy teams. And I was severely disappointed. I'll try again if Sean Payton goes there. I don't care. Don't care.
Yeah. I'm just so interested because I guess there's that whole first-round pick deal, right, where the Saints want a first-round pick for him, which I think is the dumbest thing ever. I think coaches should be able to come and go as they please.
Still assets under contract. I mean,
come on.
I'm neither here nor
there. You gave him Jameis Winston. You made him leave that door.
Jameis made Sean Payton leave, I would say, but Jameis did things.
I do love me Jameis, though.
He should get a chance. Hell, you should probably put him on, I don't know, take a flyer on him. Put him in the Giants.
No, he can't do Giants, right? I think Brian Dable's offense is too it wouldn't be risky enough for him. You gotta go to you gotta go to a place where you can just let it rip. So you need good receivers, no quarterback. Give me Jameis on the Dolphins. Guaranteed Tyreek Hill has 7 70-yard touchdowns next year.
I would like that. I would like that.
The Dolphins wouldn't, but still.
Supposedly 2 is back. Supposedly.
For his health, I
hope he's not. I hope he's not.
I'm just I hope that he takes care of himself, and if he is back, at the first sign of concussion, he doesn't go. Because I've watched Tua after the second concussion, try to pay attention to him, and he does not take care of himself on the field responsibly. You watch Tom Brady, and when he feels pressure about to get him, when he feels someone's hand, he goes down.
Yeah.
When Tua tries to fight out of things as one of the smallest players in the league, and that's why he's hitting his head on the ground.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I don't disagree.
Oh, well, I think it's a perfect way to end our show. You just complimenting me and saying I'm wonderful and that my thought was perfect.
You suck, Phil.
That's not what you heard? You didn't hear you complimenting me on one take?
Both of my picks for this week, which are both of my Super Bowl potential favorites. So,
okay,
yeah.
I said I want those same teams, but I didn't want to copy you because you got to go first last week. That's what we should have done. We should have drafted the teams to win the Super Bowl. That's how we should have gone about it.
Next year.
Yes, next year. Or even next week.
Next
All
week.
Right. So, just recapping everything. Connor and I agree. Bengals +5. San Fran -3.5 is our lock of the week. Go make your money on that. Dallas is not a good football team. I don't care what anyone tries to convince me of. They are the biggest front runners I've ever seen. I can't wait for them to get hit in the mouth.
Vikings
came back. We're 11-1 in one-score games this year. That's not front running.
Oh, it's what?
Front running is when you're winning and you're flashy about it. They were just constantly making miracles happen. Anyways, I have KC minus 8.5. Connor has under 53, but that under sounds so much better than my pick now. And then I have Giants plus 7.5, and Connor has under 48 in that game. So make your bets. Bet cautiously. I keep hearing stories about people doing stupid stuff with their bets in Ohio, and it just makes me angry. Please bet responsibly. Don't waste money. All of that good stuff.
By the way, parlays are sucker bets, so please, God, don't put huge parlay numbers down.
However, I will be writing 2 articles on same-game parlays this week.
Fine. Put down $10 and lose $10. That's fine. Don't put down. Use your free bets on parlays.
There you go. That's how you should do it.
Don't put down $100 on a parlay that's never gonna hit.
Connor's definitely not speaking from experience in our group chat and all the messages he sent us.
No way.
All right. Thanks for listening. Got it.